Why do not we know about ourselves? Well, here's the interesting thing. Imagine that you have a mountain or a skyline reflected on a lake. Okay? Now, the breeze is constantly blowing across the lake, which fragments that picture out. Okay? So man, in time and space, looks only at a segment of the picture. Okay? And behaves and interprets based on that segment of the picture. Okay, so then he enters a world that is square, a world that is all interpretative, a world of concepts, and not a world of clarity. Okay, and the whole concept of yoga, for example, and meditation was to connect the temporal with the eternal. And the way they did it was with the control of the breath. You go to your meditation, you control your breathing, and when your breathing is calm, you can see the whole picture without the water moving. You see, and that is exactly what happens. And we'll do a little experiment today with meditation and stuff like that so that we can start to identify what is the breath that connects us to our spirit. You know, which interestingly enough we call it what? Inspiration. You know, inspiration. When we are inspired, we are in spirit. We have connected. But what connects the temporal to the eternal right here is meditation. And the whole purpose of meditation is to calm the surface of the lake. That's all it is. And the surface of the lake is in our body, and the breeze that is blowing across is represented by the different breathing patterns that we adopt. Each emotion you're going to find has a different breathing pattern. So each emotion that you're experiencing blows across the surface and distorts the picture. You see how cute that is? It's amazing. You know, we go back to, you know, we study ourselves, we see what we're doing, and then the moment you calm the waters by calming your breathing, that situation out there that you thought was so insurmountable, all of a sudden makes sense. You have nothing to be upset about. You know, but while your breathing is agitated, that vision is lost to you. And the surface of the lake is moving, and you're only dealing with that one little piece that you selected. He didn't smile at me today. You know, he didn't call me when he said he would. You know, they didn't give me the respect that I deserved. Okay, they were late for the appointment. You know, all these little things. And it all comes down to how am I experiencing this moment? And I see it as I experience it. But remember, the experience is just the square world in here. This is how I experience it in space and time. Why? Because I think that I've only got from 0 to about 80 or 90 years to live. Therefore, I take myself extremely seriously. Okay? And when you take yourself that seriously, then all kinds of symptoms come up. Okay? What does a person want to do when they have this concept of themselves as very, very limited in time? I want to accumulate as much as I can. I want to buy a lot of stuff. Okay? And then I want to hoard my stuff. Because I'm afraid that my life is going to do this, and I'm going to be in my reaping phase out here, planting and reaping phase. And then I'm going to reach a zenith out here in my life, and I'm going to start declining. So I'm going to start hoarding the nuts for the winter. You see, and that is the behavior of the average person. You know, they're going to work really, really, really hard because later on they want to accumulate all the nuts. And when nobody's got nuts to eat, they're going to have nuts to eat. So really, that just flies in the face of the whole concept of abundance and the whole concept of the universe taking care of you and all these kinds of things. You know, on the one hand, oh yeah, there is plentiful abundance in the world, but on the other hand, I gotta better have my 401k, you know, or else. You see, and then when we start living from that, that is our consciousness. We got to understand that our consciousness is not. It is an unlimited world. Our consciousness is, I've got a 401k. Okay, and you cannot live in both worlds like that. You know, you're either one or the other. And as they say in the Bible, what by your works you shall be known. By your actions you shall be known. It doesn't matter what you say you believe, it's what you do that reveals what you truly believe. When you start hoarding stuff, for example, you start hoarding because you're afraid there's not enough. Period. That is the only reason to hoard. I am afraid of losing what I've got. Therefore, I am attached to what I've got. It doesn't matter what I say in church on Sundays. You know, I am attached to what I've got. Like I can be attached to my role as a mother. I can be attached to my role as a doctor. I can be attached to this and the other. But all those things are transient by their very nature. They are going to end. That is the metaphor that I use for my Spanish group is, that's mowing the lawn. That's spending your life mowing the lawn. Because what? You buy a big house, got a big lawn. The lawn is going to grow. You have a machine, you cut the lawn. You put it back, the lawn grows again. You cut again, it grows again. You cut it again, it grows again. So, and then you say, well, how would you like to come and find out, read a book about self-improvement or live a book about, I'd love to, but I've got to cut the lawn. You know, hey, there's this great seminar, there's this great, opportunity to evolve, and this course that you can take, and you can take advanced studies and stuff like that. I got to cut the lawn, man. I'm too busy. The other version of cutting the lawn is cleaning the house. So then you start looking at how you spend your time, and that tells you whether you're on purpose or not. See, when you're not on purpose, you have a lot of stuff to do. People that are not on purpose are very, very busy people. Why? We'll see why. This is very, very interesting. This is so exciting, as to why it is. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, about what happens when we take the road less traveled and what happens when we don't. Okay, so who we are begins out here in this one little square, which we shall call our tribe of origin. You know, this could be our family, this could be our culture, our religion, our neighborhood, our nationality, whatever it is. We come from our little square. Okay, and in our little square, the world is flat. Just like it was in the ancient times. In our little square, the world is flat, and we are told of the many perils that lie beyond the borders of our world. Right? In Puerto Rico, one of these things, the big border out here is called Que dirán. What will people say? What will people say about you? Okay? So, these borders are maintained by fear.
Yes.
Fear. And that is why, and here's another interesting little tidbit. If you notice, at the entrance of most temples, there is either a set of gargoyles or a set of lions or whatever it is on the outside. That tells you straight up that unless you got some serious guts, you better not go through those doors. That you're going to have to traverse those fears in order to enter the inner sanctum of peace. You're going to have to go through your fears. All right, so this little R person out here is moving, but something has always bothered him. And Mom tells him, you could go to the east, and you could go to the west, and you could go to the south, but don't go north. Don't go north, because There are goblins out there and gargoyles and crazy stuff out there that is going to eat you up. All right, so you better not move north. So of course, what does a kid want to do? He wants to move north. Okay, because the same thing happens to a seed. You can't plant a seed upside down. It's impossible. You can plant one twisting one way, one the other one, they all grow up. They'll grow up. So it is our nature to seek truth. We move towards the sun the same way that the plant moved towards the sun. We move from the darkness, that's right, into the light. It is our nature to do so. It is our spiritual nature to move towards the light. Okay? Now we get into a lot of trouble when we don't follow our spiritual nature, which we'll get into in a second. But very, very interesting. So what happens? This being all of a sudden gets a call of destiny. A call of destiny. So this person out here heeds a call of destiny. Destiny. Okay. It's either destiny or destinity, one of the two. Most likely destiny. Okay, so they listen to this call of destiny that says, go north, young man, or go north, young woman, you know, whatever it is. And this appears in the way of a vision. A vision. Because this is how we create. Our creative spirit is a vision without which nothing can be materialized. You understand that? So it is fascinating, though, because the moment, and where does that vision come from? That vision comes from out here, from consciousness, from universal consciousness. All of these ideas of everything that's ever going to be invented, all of these ideas, who's going to be Bibi, who's going to be David, who's going to be Angela, Deborah, you know, all these things already exist out here in consciousness. Okay, so our temporal brain that lives in time and space, it's like a little radio. And it tunes in. And all of a sudden, it picks up the station. And once you've picked up that station, now you are driven. We talked last week about curiosity. You become curious about what would it be like to live my vision. And then that curiosity out here is infused with passion. In other words, not only am I curious about it, I am really eager to find out. So since it is infused by passion, it leads to action. Because we were talking last week about how curiosity is a dynamic feeling. You got to move. You can't sit there and say, well, I'm curious about this and just go to sleep. You know, if you're curious about something, really, really curious, you got to look behind the door. Just like the cats. You know, when the door is locked, they got to scratch at the door, they got to dig their little foot underneath there, because they got to know what's on the other side. So it is with us. We look at this tribe that we came from, it's something inside of us, that seed that wants to grow says there's more than this. There's got to be more than this. Okay, so we begin this journey, the hero's journey that Joseph Campbell talks about. Okay, along the way, we meet challenges. And really, the first challenges that we meet are our tribal limitations. Immediately, you are socially challenged the moment that you try to step out of the thing. You know, people resist you. You know, well, what, you think you're better than us now? You're leaving us? You're better than us? Who do you think you are? You know, so there's that tremendous pressure to push you back in the little box where you belong. Okay, so at that point in time, you know, it is destiny itself which serves as the magic amulet to sail you through those challenges. The call of destiny is so strong that you're going to go against it. Now what happens? The opposite can also be true. The first challenge you meet down here, oh, you think you're better? No, I'm not better than you. Okay, well, my husband won't let me do it. Well, that's it. Boom, I'm going back into the box.
Yeah.
Aha. But now there's a problem because you're bigger than the box now.
Yeah.
You don't fit in the box.
Yeah.
And now the box pisses you off. Okay? And now, if you don't transform, I tell my students, you conform.